Hello, thank you for joining me today. This is number 1 of our Foundation Friday series. So every other Friday I'm doing Foundation Fridays. On the opposite Friday will be Forgotten Faves Friday. But I thought today we would talk about the application of foundation. Number 1, the different kind of brushes, and then number 2, a brush versus the sponge. So if you are new here, hello, welcome. If you are returning, thank you for coming on by. And let's just get right into today's video. For this section of the video, I'm comparing using a kabuki brush and a flat foundation brush. We're going to use the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. So this is a little bit of a heavier foundation. And it's a little bit light for me, so I have these Ulta Beauty Foundation Adjusting Drops. This is the dark one. I'm just going to add into it. When using a brush, you definitely want to use like the back of your hand or something as, you know, a kind of a palette, so that even if you're not mixing, but just so you're not getting like too much on at one time. And I'm just going to swirl that together. And this is kind of a good trick where even if you don't have like drops like this, but if you get a foundation that's too light or too dark and you have another foundation that's the opposite, then kind of try and mix those two together. And you want to use quick strokes or a patting motion. So let's see if we use quick strokes. Just to get the majority of the color off the brush. And then we're just gonna kind of pat it in and use stroking motion at the same time. Man, this color, I might not have got it dark enough. This color that I got in this is 1 neutral, and if you're my coloring, that is too light. You can see it goes on quick. You can blend out quick with the brush. That looks like. Now let's try the kabuki. So this is gonna be a denser brush. And I would say use this type of brush with the rounded edge if you are one that likes more of the patting motion of getting it put on, kind of like to buff it out more than like do the paintbrush style. If you were using a loose or a mineral foundation, then you want a looser brush than either one of these. And you want to kind of, like if you were using a Bare Minerals, you'd want a little bit of a denser or a looser brush than this, and the trick with that one is to really like swirl it in. So this, I'm just dabbing it, kind of dabbing it more, kind of more similar to what you would do with a beauty blender or a beauty sponge, but this is going to give me more coverage than the sponge because the brushes absorb less product than your sponge does. So you can see both of them, I feel like as far as ease of applying, it's personal preference because both of them, you can get it on really fast. It blends out really fast, and that's how it looks. Let me zoom you in closer so you can actually see, and we could see if we see a difference. Is one heavier or more full coverage? One looks drier, or this is the side with the flat foundation. This is the side with the kabuki. I personally, for me, I like the kabuki. I feel like right around here, it's not, I do have a primer on, but it's not showing as much texture as over here. But I feel like they're really close. So yeah, it's just personal preference. In my opinion, do you see a huge difference? Let me know. We are back. It is the same day for you, but new day for me. Today is the day we're going to compare a brush with a beauty sponge. And I'm going to still use the Charlotte Tilbury, the same foundation. This is the e.l.f. Buffing Foundation Brush, and this is this is an Echo Tools sponge, and actually this is, you can plant this one when you're done, so it's biodegradable. So a sponge is going to give you, or should give you, a more diffused look. It does absorb a little bit more of the product though. And I always put the foundation on the back of my hand and then dab it on. So I'm going to do the brush over here. easy peasy, blends out very easy. Let's go in with the sponge, and sponges do hold more bacteria or can get more bacteria than brushes. So if you're like me and a person who I don't regularly clean my brushes as much as I should, but you do want to make sure you are cleaning your sponges regularly. Let me get close for you and see, can you see a difference? I know the color is too light, but try to ignore that. Can you see a difference? Let me look. I feel like you can tell the biggest difference around here. See how it just is, I feel like it's not as drying looking on the side with the sponge. So if you have dry skin like me, you know, unless you're looking for a full coverage, I like to use a sponge a lot of times because I feel like it just, you know, gives more moisture into my skin. Or if I'm using a brush, then I'll go over it with the sponge, but just to kind of pat it. But what do you think? What's your thoughts? Okay, I'm going to finish my makeup and then we'll come back and we'll look as far as with, you know, bronzer, blush, and all that on, if there's a difference. All right, I changed my shirt because I didn't like it, and guess what? Yes, you are not going crazy. I have long hair again. These are extensions, and if you want to see how I applied them or how I put them in and how they work and all that jazz, I will have that video listed down below and up in the cards for you, and I do have a discount code on that video. So anyway, let's look at my face. So I think this has been on about an hour and a half, and I think that the side that I applied with the brush is looking more dry, and the side with the beauty blender I think looks a little bit more moisturized, just not as drying. So I'll do one final check-in before I take my makeup off, and just to let you know how they wear, but here's what we're looking like so far. I am getting ready to take off my makeup. I've had it on about 5 hours, and I just wanted to show you. I don't think there's a huge difference on how it wore. This side right here where I applied it with the sponge, I feel like is wearing off a little bit more. I did have a primer on underneath, the Fig and Rouge primer, but I don't feel like there's a huge difference. Just a little bit right here. It wore off a little bit faster, I think, than over here. But overall, I think that they're about the same. So it's more just what kind of coverage you want and personal preference. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any other questions about foundations or a particular one you want me to look into, then please just leave me a comment down below. I hope that you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever and wherever you are that you're watching this, and that you'll come on back and see me. Thanks. Bye.